So, can we have an explanation of how Bonnie's powers work? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to One Piece, episode 1136. And last time we saw the start of how Bonnie's crew began. How the crew is made up entirely of people from her home kingdom, specifically friends of her and her father's, who became her crew as a way to sneak her out of Alpha's control. Alpha had been, set to watch over her and everything, and we kind of find out she's, keeping Kuma's letters from reaching her because the world government fucking sucks. And because of this and everything, Queen Dowager Connie realizes what's really going on because Alpha got drunk and started yapping about it. And they devised a plan to be able to sneak Bonnie out. And it succeeded. They even made up a ship specifically for her, made to look like her favorite foods. And as Alpha had figured out what was going on and was coming to stop them, Bonnie somehow used her powers to not only age her body up, which we know she can do, but also to somehow use almost Gear Third powers to beat the shit out of Alpha. And she called it distorted future, Nika-like future. It's obvious that she's copying Nika's powers, but how does that work? What does that mean? What does that have to do with aging? I don't understand. And we kind of got a glimpse of it earlier in the episode, too, when it showed her kind of, balloon up her body otherwise. I don't understand what that is. How is she able to copy another person's powers? That doesn't make sense for aging. I don't understand. I mean, I assume it just means there's more to her powers than we know. Is it going to be something like Nika's or Luffy's powers? Where it's her powers are not what we thought they were. Just how, Luffy's powers are not the Gum Fruit powers, but the human fruit model Nika. I wonder if it's going to be something like that, where it's just we just were wrong on what her powers were from the start. I feel like it's got to be that, because nothing else makes sense. But then what are her powers? Because all we've seen her use with her powers prior was aging, either people or stuff. So it's what's the truth of it? Obviously, I want to make this very clear. Do not tell me. I assume that's going to be revealed. They're not just going to pull this shit on us and not reveal it. Oh, I trust Oda more than that. Do not tell me in the comments what the deal is with this. Just don't. But I think we are nearing the end of the flashbacks because Kuma's already on his way to being transformed. We're already kind of reaching the point of where we met Kuma. We're starting, I think we're actually in the same year that would happen, where Kuma first appeared on, well actually he first appeared going into Marishwa, but then we first really got to meet him on Thriller Bark. So we're gonna be leading into that, and then obviously Bonnie is out becoming a pirate of the worst generation at this point, which means she made a name for herself in quite a short amount of time, probably due to her powers. I would say just as short of a time as Luffy made a name for themselves. So this episode itself might even be the end of the flashbacks. We might just kind of wrap everything up and bring everything to the present at this point. I'm very curious to see how this ends out though, Because after we come out of this, like, where we left off in the current day, like, Saturn had Bonnie in his grasp, was telling people to shoot at her. It's like, what's going to happen? I mean, obviously, she's not going to die, but I'm very, very interested. These flashbacks also haven't made me cry as much as I expected them to. Like, don't get me wrong, they've definitely been sad and emotional and have made Kumo and Bonnie both amongst my favorite characters. But I thought they were going to be a lot, like, aggressively sadder. Like, I was going to be, like, bawling my eyes out constantly. And maybe it is just, like, me having become desensitized to One Piece backstories at this point. But it's like, this just doesn't feel as sad to me as the likes of Law or Koala or other characters' backstories. Brooke's backstory is sadder than this. It's like, again, don't get me wrong, it's a sad backstory. It's definitely emotional, it's definitely, like, very deep, and it definitely, again, makes me super invested in these characters. But it's just like, it doesn't hit in the same way as some of those other backstories do. Like, it's not going to make me cry in the same way that Robin's or Brooks did, or Law's. Like, I just haven't cried as much. I have cried a little, but not as much. But maybe that'll change. Maybe this will be the episode that, like, really breaks me. I don't know. And I cry pretty easily, so it's not even just an issue with that. Maybe I have just been desensitized to One Piece backstories at this point. Maybe just because I'm expecting it. I don't know. The expectation could have affected it too. I mean, I cried in Wano at backstories and stuff. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see how this goes and hope for the best. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we're back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Well, it finally broke me. I don't know why it got me so hard there specifically when it did. I don't know why that, like... I think it was, like, the culmination of everything. I think the way it was paced out throughout the arc allowed me to, like, yeah, it's sad, it's really, like, upsetting and everything, but I'm, like, handling it. But it's like this is clearly the ending to the flashback. And I think it just, like bombarding us all at once with, like, the gorgeous animation, the visuals, the words that were being said. I think it's because it was, like, hitting us all at once with every emotional moment from this flashback. That's what, like, broke me. That's what, like, got it to affect me so bad. Or I'm just a little bitch. that's a strong possibility too. But again, it's like I cried, like, I think once or twice during these flashback episodes. But it didn't hit me as much as, like, it only got me, like, a little bit. This was like, this hit me much, much, much harder. I still, I don't know if I would, like, I still think, like, it's probably not the most sad backstory for me, because there's other ones that just hit me harder and just have stuck with me for so long. And I admit that, like, having, like, known those backstories for so long, having seen them multiple times and thought about them so much, is like, yeah, that's probably part of what makes them more impactful for me, like, thinking back in retrospect. But this one is, like, new, and I'm still, like, I've only seen through these episodes once, so I'm probably just gonna need a lot of time to like process through a lot of this before I can like really like rank it amongst other sad backstories. But um, yeah, this definitely was the ending. Like, and something I was wondering about, something I was like kind of like thinking might have been the case, like was confirmed here that he was watching Bonnie on Shabandi. Like that was genuinely a theory that I was wondering because we know they were both on Shabandi at the same time during the pre-time skip, and I was wondering if like he knew she was there, and if so, if he had been like watching her in secret, and he was, and she had been searching for him and following his trail the entire time, and like he had been avoiding her because of like the deals that were made, and in the end, it's like we saw like how all of this like was him choosing to like put his future, put the future of the world in not just Bonnie's hands but Luffy's as well. How he discovered Luffy. We saw how he like learned about all of that and everything through these flashbacks. We saw like how he like kind of saw Nika's energy and vibe in Luffy, and how he saw him as the person who will change the world. It's just it changes the context of a lot, and not just because we now know that the white eyes were just his glasses with the glare on them. um, it changes the context of a lot, even with the likes of like Thriller Bark and whatnot, and Shabandi. And Shabandi, we already knew like he had been protecting them, like that had already been figured out a long time ago. But we having the context for why and everything that he put for them and put forward for them, and the ship and everything, protecting the ship, seeing the connections that he's made this entire time with like even the likes of like Vegapunk and Dragon and even Kizaru and Sentomaru. This this arc has really been elevated by this backstory. Like the arc prior to this was still really good, but this backstory absolutely elevated it to new heights. Um, and obviously, I already said like in the pre-thoughts that like Kuma and Bonnie had already risen to like two of my favorites. Um, this episode also just even elevated that further. I think maybe I'm gonna have to think about it a lot. Again, it's one of those things I can't just make a spur of the moment decision on. But it's just it's interesting too because it seems like Kuma's heading towards them, right? Kuma suddenly went ballistic in the current day and is like it seems that he's heading towards them, but he shouldn't have any of his humanity or memories or anything left, right? So I'm just wondering what the deal with all of that is. I wonder if Vegapunk installed something without Kuma knowing, and I guess without Saturn knowing as well. I don't know. Oh, he talked about a switch. He talked about there being like a switch that could like go between personalities. I wonder if he did install that. Because if he actually installed that against Saturn's wishes, that means he one always knew the government would be coming after him to kill him. Because that definitely would be a result of that. But also it means that he chose to put his friend first, and that could be like maybe something happened and the switch was somehow flipped for him, and that's why he's on his way now. That's the only thing I could think of. Because Vegapunk specifically mentioned that in this episode. I just otherwise have no clue. This backstory and everything has also made me hate Saturn specifically that much more. Like, I obviously hate all of the Gorosei because they're, you know, celestial dragons and kind of the most fucked up of the celestial dragons for a number of reasons. But like this arc and especially this flashback has made me hate very specifically Saturn more than the others. Though to be fair, that might change once we get to know more about the others too, and like maybe learn what they've done comparatively. But it's just like it's just this arc made me care so much about Kuma and Bonnie, so seeing Saturn be like the antithesis to that, the villain of all of their story is just it's just exactly enough to like make me hate him that much more. And considering he's on the island now, it's just I'm wondering how this fight against him is going to go, because there's no way he's leaving without like our heroes fighting him. But his powers also seem like exceptionally strong to the point of like near invincibility. How do we even begin to fight someone like him? Even with Luffy's Gear 5th, even with his Nika powers, it's like, is that enough? I don't know. It's hard to say because Nika's powers aren't like unstoppable per se. It's just like they're just like so wacky and weird. They can do like so much crazy shit, but they're not necessarily strong enough to take someone out without like effort still put in. Because Gear 5th wasn't able to take out Kaido right away. Luffy still had to do plenty to him before he took him out. And this was after a lot of fighting already occurred. Now, Gear 5th Luffy could still take out Kaido even if he were still at full strength at that point. It would just take longer. Because I don't think Gear 5th comes with a lot of power. It doesn't come with a lot of strength. It's more like I feel like, let's put it this way. Gear 2nd is speed. Gear 3rd is power, I would say, because growing his fists and everything allows him to add that extra power into his attacks. Gear 4th is versatility. Gear 4th allows him to use versatile new abilities, which is why there's multiple forms of Gear 4th. That allows him to change up the way he battles, the way he fights. Gear 5th is freedom. We obviously know what that Gear 5th stands for, freedom, that's the point of it. And it gives him the freedom to do pretty much anything. And yeah, he can obviously inflate his body to insane sizes, like bigger than giants and shit. But it doesn't seem to actually increase his power output, which is interesting. I wonder if that's something he's going to have to, like, train, or if that's something that, like, just doesn't come with Gear 5th. But I don't know. It's also hard to say because when Luffy's in Gear 5th mode, he's also kind of losing his control a little bit. He's kind of going so, like, silly that he's not really taking the fight as seriously. Like, if he were able to use Gear 5th powers while completely staying in his own mind and able to, like, be entirely serious and even, like, angry, I feel like he would be unstoppable, but he's not. He kind of loses a little bit of mental control. And so I'm really curious as to how his powers are going to work in a battle against someone like Saturn. Or the Gorosei in general. Or even Emu, once that comes into play. Because Emu is without question going to be stronger than the Goroseis, and we don't even know what Emu's going to be capable of yet. So, I'm just very curious. But yeah. this backstory, I think this was the final episode. It definitely feels like it. Everything kind of came full circle, and it feels right. It feels like this is exactly where it should end, and next episode we should get back to the main stuff. Obviously, do not tell me if I'm right or not. But yeah, I'm very interested to see how the rest of this arc goes now. So I guess let's just find out as we continue to go along. I don't tend to do much theory crafting, so we're just gonna like wait to see what new episodes come out and what they give to us. Obviously though, no spoilers. Like I've said in the past and will keep saying, there are some things I do know about just because people yap, and a lot of One Piece fans like don't understand that not everybody reads the manga. And so please do not spoil me on anything that's going to happen, because even though I know a couple things, I don't have context for them. And on top of that, I don't want to end up getting spoiled to anything I don't know. So just don't spoil. No spoilers in the comments. Um, but yeah, I'm very, very invested in this now, much more so than I was before. And so we're gonna just keep going and see what it has in the future. Um, I guess we'll see. So tell me in the comments below what were your thoughts on this episode of One Piece. What did you think of the end to these flashbacks, or presumed end at least? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.